Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to RPG Limit Break, and thank you to RPG Limit Break for hosting this chaos comedy tour, Final Fantasy Randomizer race. We are in Pod Pede with our two racers, guardianmarcus and Cheezinator. This is very much a race of new school versus an OG. Cheezinator's been around for quite a while. He was in the top 3 in Chaos Rush 2019, third place in the spring tournament in 2020, and first place in the SG Live tournament 2020. He loves to fight the sandworms. guardianmarcus is very new. His only real tournament type experience was the Duck Derby from this past winter. He likes the Frost Wolves. I am joined in the booth today by Shadowed. Shadowed, tell us about the seed, or the flags, would you?
Well, if you've been watching any of our broadcasts from the last week and a half to 2 weeks, you're probably already familiar with what's going on. But just to reiterate, these are basic pods flags for your spring tournament. No loose, there are no loose items. There are no dud items, unless you count the ruby, but that's hit or miss. Your incentive locations are basically what you'd expect, with the minor twist that the actual chests that the incentive items are in are going to be shuffled somewhere within the dungeon. So the Mars chest could be up on the top. It could be in one of the chests in the bottom that's not locked. In the sea, it could be at Mermaids. It could be in Sharknado. Could even be TFC. So there's going to be a bit of exploring until we find all the pieces that we need. And the scaling isn't too bad. So what you're seeing here, at least from guardianmarcus's party, is about a standard party that we've seen so far this tournament, mainly running a black belt with mages as support.
Well, and depending on how the class blurses go, that looks like it's usually a good party. The thing's going to be, can he find a good grind tile early?
That's definitely going to be the key, because I had a look at the class blisters before we got started, and with this particular party, about the only things that are of any interest is the red mage gets plus 20 hit points, the black mage gets plus 40 agility, and the black belt just gets plus 15 agility. So nothing game changing there on that side. If I would almost have replaced the red mage with a white mage, they get a couple of extra level 1 spells, and that might be useful in the early going, especially if we get a good spell like Wall or Fade to show up.
Well, there's certainly the possibility that he could re-roll it. That he could see
true.
that he could dive that first level white magic shop and see like Fade in slot 2 and Life 2 in slot 4 and just re-roll it.
That's true. It's just then there's a question of, is that another minute you want to force yourself to get behind in the early going? But we'll figure that out as we go. Cheezinator looks like that's pretty decent party.
Did we notice what the and we are off. Cheezinator's in. Both of our runners are into Corneria. Our level 1 white, harm 4 wall. I didn't see the other two. Ice 3 and Fire 3 at black level 1 though.
Fog and Invis 1 are the other two level 1 white spells. So both of the interesting spells in white are going to be, at least for the beginning, white mage locked. That wall is going to be completely white locked. Red wizards cannot learn that one. With Cheezinator's party, but the only difference is he's bringing 2 melees, that fighter and that black belt. With the fighter, they have a plus 20 agility blurse, and that's it. So a lot of speedy characters in this seed, but nothing that's going to be groundbreaking in terms of changing how we usually see the mechanics run.
And we get a nice long hero run at the start of the encounter table.
Well, that'll be good to know for your long trips if you're not trying to find something to grind off of a power cycle or a reset. So we'll see how much that comes into play as we get going.
Oh, a heal pot, 3,700 gold, and a house.
I don't know, but the way the housing market is, that house might be the best thing of the three.
Well, I didn't notice. We get a key. Ooh, early key from the king, and early canal.
Yeah, I freely admit I missed what the actual house prices were in the seed. I was just talking about things outside of Final Fantasy, just to try to inject a little bit of humor into things.
No humor allowed. You get money, soft potion, TNT. It's dynamite.
What was that about no humor allowed?
30 and money, and pure.
So this looks like a typical start. You got options here at this point. Detour over to see what Narek has for the TNT, or go talk to Vicky. Basically, your two best options here. What would you go with?
I'm gonna go to Bicky. Bicky would be my choice, but just with the likelihood. Okay, we know that Bicky or TNT turn in or Marsh, well, or Crescent Lake or Ice will have the ship.
I would also be going to Bicky, but my reasons are a little bit easier. One, you get to see what your second level magic is, and as if you don't have enough good sweepers, now if you find Temper and Fast at level 2, you're pretty much set on spells for most of the rest of the game.
Yeah, pretty well.
And also,
Marcus is heading Bridge Boss to Bicky. Cheese is heading over to Dwarf Cave.
right, the other reason I would hold off on dwarves is I do not like double dipping the dwarf cave. If I can wait until I get the adamant, I like going in, doing everything at once, and being finished with it.
Well, there is that, and Cheese does not talk to Hooray Dwarf, but he still might talk to Hooray Dwarf on the way out. Oh, that looks like a good play, because that goes to Herb. Cabin, tent, Great Axe, money, Iron Gauntlet. Well, we got half of it. We got fast.
Well, fast, and if we had brought a thief instead of a fighter or a black belt, that saber would be handy, especially if you get anything decent to roll up.
And I mean, Harm 2 is about the only spell of note in the white magic in level 2.
Unless you're like one of those people who like the lamp spell, that's about the only meme spell that I can see having anyone point out.
And Classic Gamer in the chat points out Great Axe might actually be useful with Lock 2 and Saber for the Red Mage. And Bicky has the ship. And Oxyel in the Oxyel is the shop item, and it's 26k. And houses are meh.
Yeah, man about covers it. Although that Iron Armor +1 will be a good pickup for Cheezinator once he gets over to Provoca and sees that in the armor store.
Yeah, well, Cheezinator is in Provoca. He just took out the pirates and got the ship.
Yeah, well, he still hasn't gotten down to the armor shop yet, so give him about 20 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
those heal potions, that's a good deal. So I approve of getting stocked up fully here while you can.
oh yeah, I always approve of stocking up on heal potions. And Marcus is now heading over to turn in the TNT. Well, okay. My reasoning for doing Bicky first is, in addition to the level 2 magic, which isn't as important to see the level 2 magic immediately, it's the enemies tend to be easier if I end up running into something that's unrunnable or that that rolls something nasty. It's easier to kill.
Which makes absolutely perfect sense. I can't argue with you on that one. But the only thing that I would add is, just based off of the races that I've seen and tracked so far in the spring tournament, I would be wary more of Imps and anything with Wolf in their name, because they tend to be the things that roll the worst so far.
Kareebs. Almost always Kareebs are rolling bad. And for some reason, the eyes, or not the eye, the actual eye enemy that you find that's from Ice Cave, but the
Like the big eye.
the big eye that you get on the boat. For some reason, Big Eye has always rolled nasty. It always rolls nasty. We have Life 1 at level 4.
Life 1 at level 4, Nuke and Quad X at level 6, a Rod from the Sages. Lots of stuff happening at once.
I did not see if Marcus checked the level 3 magic shops.
I think he just ducked in there in passing. I can confirm there is basically nothing of interest. Zap is about it.
Okay. And Cheese doing a little bit of an early grind on a troll. Copper -1's about the only... Well, no, ribbon. There was a ribbon.
Well, that's certainly a good find this early.
Trolls are trolly with the Quad Axe. And Elf Prince gives the cube, which is not useful yet because we don't have the chime.
This is almost a point where you'd start to worry. If chime shows up in Marsh, does that mean early sky play comes into focus? You took the words right out of my mouth on that one.
I just don't like the idea of early sky.
I don't like the early sky myself, but I actually prefer early sky over Marsh. I'm firmly in the Team Never Marsh camp.
yeah, I can't really argue with that.
Yep, so there's our black magic. Confirmed Zap and Fuse are about the only things interesting in Cure 2 and White, so completely forgettable on both sides.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep, so Marcus is about to pick up his rod from the Old Men Knitting Circle.
And that is a super green pickup. And he sees Quad X and Nuke at level 6.
Ooh, Pro Rings, 8270. That's not too bad of a price.
No. I would rather, I'll be honest, I would rather do Marsh than early sky. again, yes, the enemies will roll nasty. There will be something in there that rolls nasty, but they're easier to kill.
Indeed, I freely admit I have a little bit of a confirmation bias when it comes to it. Half the time I go into Marsh, the first thing I see, oh hi, here's an undead pack that ambushes and blaze turn 1.
Ew. Money. And money.
That looks like the same amount of money in both chests.
If it wasn't exactly, it was pretty darn close. Oh, scorpions are scorpion. Scorpions are toxic.
Yep. This is why never Marsh.
But the crown is up top.
This might be confirmation bias speaking again, but I found that the item in March has been showing up in the attic a lot in these seeds.
Toxic scorpions. I've had worse. I've seen worse. I've seen nuke imps.
I've seen ambushing nuke wizards, so I understand exactly where you're coming from. Alright, so Cheezinator grabs his crown for the second time. Let's see if he can manage to get out of the marsh cave with it, and probably immediately make a run to the northwest castle.
And Marcus is making the play on ice.
Well, better an early ice play than an early sky play.
Well, yeah.
And go ahead.
I'll just say, if you got a problem, he'll solve it.
Fair enough. The other thing, consider as a possible early play, even though they've yet to pick it up because of lack of money.
Oxyale for C.
The Oxyale. And with Northern Docks on, you could try to do Waterfall at the same time, get that entire continent taken care of at once.
Yeah, that is a valid play. Yeah, Canal's either... no, they have Canal. They have Canal, Rob. Canal was Sarah. And Cheezinator drops Astos. I did not notice what Astos had. It's the slab.
Stone.
And Cheese is going to check out the two trap tiles. Sunsword. We have a Sunsword +4.
There's your endgame weapon.
Oh, and I like that tile this early. I like that Whiz Mummy tile this early.
Ooh. Yeah, especially if you can knock him down with a Heavy Fire 3 assault. Do this a couple times, burn a couple of houses. You'll pretty much have all your early game levels and all the money you'll need for the time being.
And the Frost Wolf, the other tile's Frost Wolf. Are we? Are we on A side or B side tiles? Do we know yet?
I'm afraid I don't have the specific spike tiles etched in memory yet, so until we find either a one Agama or a third eye grind, I wouldn't be able to tell you for certain, but my initial thought is agreeing with Rob in chat that we're on A sides.
That's oh.
And a Phantom, that pretty much confirms. Yeah, that's A
Yeah,
sides.
we're A side. Red D. And that Phantom, I will say, hit like a flippin' truck. Okay, there's a question in chat. What does A side or B side mean? There are two sets of the trap tiles, or spike tiles, the tiles that are automatic encounters, and you can there's two sets of them. They're called A side or B side. A side is the traditional tiles from the original game. The B side tiles, there is a backside encounter for each of those encounter packs. Like for instance, actually every encounter pack has a backside. And ouch, Sphinxes with squint. Every encounter has everything has an A side, B side. For instance, the B side of the pirates are an A side encounter, and the B side encounter to that is the Sahuagin pack from Sea Shrine. But every one of the spike tile encounters has a backside encounter, and that's the B side. That would be your B side. I saw Xfer there at white level 5, and Brack at black level 5.
Brack, I believe, is in the vanilla warp location, so I believe that would be promotion locked. And also, while that was going on, Cheezinator did make a stop to Provoker to pick up his Oxyeel, so he does have C on the table now.
And Crystal was the item out of Ice Baby.
Yep, that one trap room immediately to the northwest once you make the drop. And get your Agama facts out, folks. We had an Agama on screen, but now it's gone.
That's not a bad grind tile either.
Yeah, Agamas are definitely good to get some early levels on, especially if they don't roll anything too serious.
And Marcus is headed straight up to Provoca to resurrect his two dead party members. And I do not blame him.
And likely grab the Oxyeel while he's there, because he should have the money for it now.
He definitely has the money for it.
Yep, best to get it done as soon as you can, so that way you don't forget about it down the road. Because I've been bitten by that once or twice.
Yeah. Me too. I don't want to discuss it.
Fair enough. I think this is the precursor to the Agama tile over here on Cheezinator's side. Wiz Mummy and Birds. Not a particularly pleasant tile, in my opinion.
Oh, that's the waterfall tile.
Yep, so that was the one right next to the Agama, so he goes right back to the Agamas, which is probably your best play. Get another level or two on everyone, then start trying to drop some of your other warriors and focus on that black belt.
Ow. Creeps with Ice 2.
Creeps are another one that I found that like to roll stuff nasty, as we get a power bonk from Matoya.
This may be some confirmation bias, but I've always had the green snakes roll bad for abilities.
That might be. For me, it's usually creeps, even outside of the spring tournament, seem to give me something nasty, as well as shadows.
Rube's in chat. Hey, Giant, your haul is that way.
Yeah, good luck kicking all the Agamas out, though. Alright, looks like we got both mages down. Oh, now we got everyone down, so now Cheezinator just needs to get out of the cave and save, and then be able to get that black belt grind going.
Meanwhile, Marcus is going to check out the Temple of Fiends tiles. Ooh, for mage.
If this was a fighter tile, I'd be a little bit more intrigued with it, but mages still aren't too terribly bad. The one upshot is that is at least a free tile because you're not advancing the encounter table when you're moving down off of it and back up.
That's true. It is a completely free tile. Yeah, Cheese is solo down to 16 on the black belt.
Alright, you figured out these are A-side tiles. How far do you take your black belt grind here? Just off the one Agama. For my money, I'd go to maybe 29 or 30. You'll get to your 32 breakpoint dealing with the other fiends. You bring everyone back. You've got your fighter as secondary damage dealer with that Sun +4. Plus, you'll have him as a meat shield. With these scalings, a 32 black belt and a good fighter backup with a decent weapon, that's pretty much all the damage you're going to need.
Yeah, I think 32. I think you do 32 on the single Agama, and yeah, the rest will be a walking. The rest you can just do a walking grind.
As long as we're not doing The Walking Dead, because that would be a completely different franchise.
Marcus heading to Marsh.
Which
now Marcus on the other hand, is going to want to find a better grind than the Agama.
Right, and he still hasn't picked up his crown yet, so this will be coming here within the next minute or so. Then the question is, after that, where do you go?
You've done ice. You've done... So you've done ice. You've done... C. No, you haven't done C. You've got the shop item. You've done all the inner C stuff. You don't have Sarda. You don't have Ruby. Ordeals. I think I go to Ordeals.
I might make one detour in the midst of all that and knock out Earth Cave just to get your first fiend out of the way, because Lich is going to be your easy one. At least get your first orb lid and get that little bit of pressure off your mind, so that way you've got some progression on your menu screen. And then, yeah, I'd pretty much agree that either Ordeals or attempting the Waterfall C combo would be your best bet.
Yeah, I think ordeals into Waterfall and Sea. Because you've got several good possible grind tiles at ordeals. Let's not underestimate the possibility of an ordeals grind.
That's true. But what would be the only other decent tiles to grind on outside the Agama? The Single Eye and maybe the Fighters?
Single Eye Fighters, we don't have Warp or Exit yet.
Yeah, that would be one of the other reasons I'd be hesitant about ordeals, but normally I just push through it. Excuse me.
Yeah, there was a red D in Ice, but it was deep enough that it's not really worth the grind.
Yeah, it was after the initial drop from the floater chest, so it's probably, I agree, not really worth it.
Yeah, Eyes would be a good one. The Sharknado tile might be a good grind tile.
Yeah, that's fair. Cheezinator, I believe, is approaching 29 over here. We'll find out shortly.
32.
Wow, blink and I miss it.
Oh, Cheese is doing the full grind.
See, I disagree with this. 32 is enough, especially if you got your secondary backups here. If anything, maybe go 33, 34 at most for the extra health, and then get going, because these Agamas are only going to take you so far so fast. Then you got to imagine there's a sunk time fallacy to be involved with it.
Yeah, I think we've passed diminishing returns on the Agama tile.
Yep, because we're at 34 now, and I think you're right. I think he's gonna go, if not to 42, at least close enough to make the walk worth it.
And we're three or four fights to a level. The Agama's just not gonna give you the it's just not gonna give you the return at this point.
Right. Get to your 30 or just before it. In Marcus's case, I'd get the 32 flat out, and then go out and do what you need to do. I mean, your other option is to, now that you know that this tower exists, to go out and try to get a couple of the other easier to get key items. Try to boost that experience a little bit more before coming back and doing it some more.
Yeah, there is that. Now, of course, I could be crazy. I'm not good enough to race, so Cheezinator probably knows more than I do. Heck, Cheezinator's probably forgotten more than I know.
Yeah, there's a reason I stick to the crew booth anymore, because, yeah, I don't consider myself any sort of a racer.
Well, Cheezinator comes heading out. Yeah, does Marcus stop at 32, and does Cheese go to does Cheese go over to ice? Yeah, Marcus. Cheese stopped at 38.
Yep, I was just about to bring that up. So, Cheezinator looks like he's going to head to the south part of Elfland, probably revive there, and then maybe head south from there into Ordeals.
Yeah, that seems like the most likely play. He's leaving the fighter damned.
Ooh.
That's why he went there. That's why he went up. That's why he went where he did. That's why he stopped where he did. He's leaving the fighter damned.
Okay, that's certainly a strategy. Probably not something I would have gone with, but hey, we'll see how well it works for him.
With the Sun Sword, I wouldn't have done it. I probably wouldn't have done it. But again, Cheezinator knows a heck of a lot more than I do. But Cheezinator gives the Sun Sword to the Red Mage.
Well, yeah, that's a good point. And Red Mage can put Saber on himself if he actually got it from level 2. So that is a possibility, but I'm not certain I trust the Red Mage to have sort of backup damage in case, say, a Kraken 2 comes on and pastes the Black Belt with one shot.
Yeah, that could be a rough one. Kraken 2 is about the only thing that would worry me about leaving the fighter damned.
Yep, Kraken 2 and Warmech, which really is sort of a iffy proposition because you're not guaranteed to run into him. K2, on the other hand, yeah.
And thank you, Randomania 2. Thank you to the 3 o'clock Eastern race for coming over with a raid. Raiding with 25 people. Welcome to the Cheezinator guardianmarcus race. Both of our runners are doing Agama grinds.
Well, Marcus is in the middle of his grind.
Have done. Yeah,
right.
Are doing or have done.
All right, Cheezinator went up to 38 and immediately made the play to Ordeals afterwards. In terms of progression, about the only things we've had of interest, Sarah had the canal, Vicky had the ship, the King had the key, which led to, trying to read the notes here, key led to TNT, led to the herb, led to the cube. So that's been your one fetch quest so far.
And we've got a chime. Sky, Sky, Sky is available.
Well, he has the levels now, so you're in the area. Now it makes sense to go ahead and do it. We have found our shop item. That is the Oxio, about 26 grand, and it was in Pavoka, so we had it early. And
well,
go ahead.
And Rob kind of makes a good point in chat. There's not been anything that great in the white spells. The best sword we've got is Red Mage, Red Wizard usable. If you don't get a good armor, a good shield, and a Massa or X-Cal that's got a bonus while you're still looking for items, the Knight is kind of dead weight.
Well, that's fair. I mean, I realize that, as mentioned, I'm not the best of runners. I would prefer to keep the fighter or knight up as a meat shield. But that is also a very good point that you bring up there. So that'll be something we'll have to remember to ask Cheese when the race is over. It looks like he was doing a little bit of encounter manipulation, about ready to make a dive in the sea.
Ooh, warp and temper at 7.
Aye. those are spots you really don't want to see that.
And Cheese is headed for C. I think I would have done. I'm probably dumb for this, but I think I would have done Waterfall first.
I can understand doing C first. I mean, you're right there. You have easy access to an inn to save, and you're high enough level. You should be able to take out Kraken 1 easily. And if you find nothing on the way down to Kraken, it's not that hard to turn around, come back in, head up to Mermaid to see if you can find your loot and get yourself in go mode.
There is that. But with no exit, that makes going the play going down a little less. With no exit, no warp, that makes the down play a little less attractive, to me at least.
Well, if you got the levels to take out Kraken, you get a free warp out of the Sea Shrine as soon as you turn Kraken into a statue or pummel him into submission. So, about the only thing that would be a bit of a walk is coming back from mermaids.
And Marcus finishes his Agama grind. I did not see what level it was. Dragon armor -3.
Well, are you looking for endgame armor?
And Cheese is on Sharknado floor.
Marcus went out of the menu so fast, I didn't get a look at the level, but given how quick he was in there compared to Cheezinator, I want to say he only went to 32 exactly.
And Marcus is not. Marcus is heading over towards C, and not towards Ordeals yet. And Cheese finds a seafood special.
Ooh, Sea Shrine Pile of Pain. That is a rough tile to run into.
Yeah, with the black belt with the Dand Fighter, I doubt very much that we'll see Cheese promote to use the dragon armor.
Which is fair. I mean, I don't really think we found anything of interest in terms of magic that's locked behind promotion anyway. So, yeah, I think he's still in find the loot and get going. And I just looked at Marcus. I can confirm he left right at 32 on the black belt. So he thinks that's going to be good enough, and let's see what happens.
Well, and he's probably going to do the walking grind anyway.
Which is fair. I don't know if he'll be able to get to 42 by the time he gets to the end game, but with these scalings, 32 is enough.
Well, it also depends on what. It also depends on what, and if he finds like another eye tile somewhere, because if he finds an eye tile, he can easily get up to 42. He can easily get up to 42 on the black belt while grinding the rest, if he's interested in doing that, of course.
Right. At this point, I figure if he wanted to get to 42, he either would not have all four still alive, or he would have gone a little bit further, maybe not the full 42 on the Agamas. but 32 should be good enough. You get a few extra HP from the additional levels, and this should be enough to get you through, especially since you have a power bonk.
Yeah, I think Scheidel is right. Even if neither of them is going to do a dedicated grind again, not a static one. It's going to be walking grind from here out. And Cheese is on the Kraken. 4 for 560. And
Yeah, that slow from Kraken didn't hit, so we got fast on the black belt, a couple of ice threes. Here, yeah, that was a pummeling.
that's no more Kraken.
Yep, so we'll call it 42 minutes even. We have our first orblet as Cheezinator takes down Kraken 1.
And he's going to go back in because it was up to get the key item.
Yep, and since they already have the key, we don't have to worry about being trolled by the key item being in TFC. So, smart play here. Go ahead and hit mermaids first because it's only
Massa +5. Hello.
Well, now that you see that, do you reconsider danning the fighter?
And an X-Cal. You give with an X-Cal and a Massa.
And that Sun
now
plus
I might
4.
And a Sun +4. Now I can start reconsidering danning the fighter. I reconsider bringing the fighter up, especially when it's Massa +5.
Right, because it's not going to do anything extra with the hits, but the critical chance and the damage. And there's a bottle.
There's a bottle.
So, floaters may still be required depending on what the bottle is holding. So, we're not quite out of the woods yet.
And he's given the Massa to the Black Mage. I think X-Cal rolled neutral.
Yeah, X-Cal rolled vanilla.
But everything else rolled up. Everything else, X-Cal, Massa, Giant, Ice, Sun, all rolled up.
Yeah, this definitely sounds like a seed where if you're looking for equipment, you're going to be happy with it. Heck, I think even the ribbon rolled positive. I think it's +3.
And now Marcus in the sword vault.
Yep, Cheezinator has gone back to on-rack proper to restock on his items, and this should be a waterfall play here. Yep, there he goes. Marcus gets his bottle, doesn't even bother to check that last chest, which I do not blame him, as Cheezinator is going to burn off a couple more encounters before getting into the waterfall itself.
Doesn't even bother to check the chest that had X-Cal.
You have a Sun +4 and you have a Mazda +5. The X-Cal is basically vendor trash at this point.
Well, and he doesn't have anyone that can use X-Cal anyway. Marcus did pick up the Massa.
So
And
go ahead.
Cheese making his way through. Finds the zombie D tile there at there in Waterfall. That's actually a pretty decent tile. That's a pretty decent fight. And it's a tail.
Alright, so judging from what we have, I'm almost thinking Floater has to be in Sky at this point.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Because the way I'm envisioning it, Floater's in Sky, the bottle locks another fetch quest item. That chain will probably lead to the Floater, and there's still the white shirt to be found out there somewhere.
Yeah, it's probably Bottle will lead to White Shirt, and Sky will lead to... Yeah, Bottle can't lead to Floater.
A comedy
Loot.
option, Sky has the Ruby, which you have to go give the starter to get the Floater.
Yeah.
Lots of red Ankylos out in the desert here as Cheezinator burns off encounters before going in.
Light Axe.
Light Axe plus 5 isn't too terribly bad. Gold Bracelet minus 1 isn't too bad either.
There's a ribbon.
Oh,
and it's ribbon rolled minus.
I knew there was a 3 in there someplace. I just couldn't remember if it was plus or minus, but we've seen so many pluses, I guess I was subconsciously thinking.
Cheese is going to burn off a couple encounters, and
yes, Marcus gets his chime for more deals, so he's got that idea that Sky's probably next on the agenda.
And greater than less than room.
So far, a lot of pocket change.
Now, side question: if you get Floater, say here in greater than less than room, do you know about and get the airship?
At this point, no. You're already in here. Well,
There's an adamant.
Well, moot question, but still going to field it. If that was the Floater, no. I stay in Mirage, I go up the Sky, I take out Tiamat, so that way you don't have to come back.
Okay, that's fair. Though the reason I was asking is that you have the slab translated, and you know, especially if you pick up Floater there on greater than less than, you know that either the Bottle or the Lefane is going to lead you to the loot that you need.
Which is fair. At the same point, this is me trying to work the world map very poorly. Getting to the Ryokan Desert from the Mirage Desert is a little bit difficult in my mind. So if I'm already up here, I'd rather just get what I need to done. I can just fly south from Ryokan, end up right at my landing spot to be able to head to Lefane.
And that's fair. Yeah, bad men with stone poison could be trouble for Topher. And we have the Bridge of Destiny. Will we see a war chicken? We see metal slime.
Slimes. That's a decent encounter to run into.
I'm surprised if Cheese is going to take these metal slimes. I'm a little surprised he didn't take the 4 rock goal fight.
Probably figures that the slimes would be easier to take out. You'd imagine with 2 fire 3s that they would have dropped, and oh
We have a
boy.
war chicken.
Well, let's see if we get anything decent pulled out of the pool. Ice 3.
Starts off with ice 3.
And looks like that's all we're going to get to find out as the Warmech drops, and his black belt is now officially at 42. We are in full overclock mode.
And another war chicken.
Okay, well, at least it's not an unrunnable, so one was enough, and I can't say that I blame him.
Marcus gets his adamant.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm fully expecting a third Warmech to show up here.
Well, Tia using ink, 10 for 770 before a fast drops.
Tia with a second ink, so she must have rolled the Kraken suite of skills. And there's a dead Tiamat and second orb for Cheezinator. Call it just shy of 53 minutes.
20 hits for 1759.
Yeah, unless you're Chaos in the vanilla game, you are not surviving that.
Even vanilla Chaos really isn't going to survive that very well.
True. I mean, he'll be able to take the one shot, but he's not going to have much left after that.
Nope. And Marcus and Cheezinator both full go mode in Sky.
Cheezinator docking at the Matoya River. Let's going to go turn in his adamant here. See what this gives us.
Marcus taking the Bridge of Destiny.
There's the floater. So, yep, odds are that was going to be a required adamant.
So wait, what did the adamant lead to?
Adamant was floater.
Yeah.
So now that leaves Bottle and Slab as your two outstandings. Where do you go first? Because, I mean, they're both pretty much right next to each other, so it's a question of which walk is going to be quicker for you to deal.
Gaia, I do Bottle first.
Makes sense, and it's also directly on the way. As soon as you hit the airship, you head south about a dozen or so tiles, and you're in the perfect landing spot to get Nagaya, so that makes perfect sense.
Actually, I do Sarda first.
Ooh. Okay. Bit of a spicy take. I hadn't thought about that, but you bring up a good point.
I do Sarda, then Gaia, then Lefane at the end, if it's necessary.
Yep. Meanwhile, Marcus has finished off Tiamat. Cheezinator picking up Nuke, which at this point you can't blame him.
The question in chat, isn't Ruby required by logic for Sarda? No, Ruby or Floater. Ruby or Floater is required by logic for Sarda. One or the other, but not both.
Right. If the Titan's Cave was incentivized, then the Ruby would have that extra secondary purpose, but for the purposes of our pod flags, that the Titan's Cave does not have an incentive item in it.
And that's a loot. That's go mode.
And you would have me beaten on routing in this one. Well played, sir.
Well, it's the fastest thing you can get to from when you land the airship.
Well, fair point. Fair point. It's just like I said, I would not have thought about that. So, full props to you on that one. That was a good call.
Well, honestly, that's always the first check I do when I get the airship is Sarda.
All right. Well, Cheezinator's going to make a beeline through Earth. I don't see Vampire or Lich 1 lasting beyond, or Vampire for certain not lasting into a second turn. Lich, probably not either.
Yeah, I don't think anything. I don't think either of the remaining fiends are going to last more than a turn.
Meanwhile,
And it looks like Cheese. It looks like Cheese did get the fighter back up.
Probably again as a meat shield and to get a little bit of experience on it for the extra HP. As he before the vampire, he was dealing with the true boss of the Earth Cave, the Red Bats.
Yeah, we can. And Badman with stone poison certainly qualifies as a nasty trash mob. Marcus heads into Volcano. I think he's going to go mode Volcano. I did not notice if he did Sarda, and no, he wouldn't have. He wouldn't have gone to Volcano. Disregard. I'm just being dumb.
These things happen. After so many races in the span of a couple weeks, things are bound to get muddled together.
Because if he had done Sarda, he would have gone to do Earth.
Right. That would be the more logical routing play.
It does make some sense to do Volcano when you get the floater, just to not backtrack to that part of the map.
Yeah, grab the floater, go up, hit Volcano, hit East, hit Sarda, hit Earth Cave, and go from there.
Yep. And Cheese is headed to Volcano.
Cheese coming into Volcano as Marcus pulls a carry fight. 592 on the first shot, and
Done.
nuclear didn't really, well, it was inevitable.
And Marcus heading over to Sarda. He's going to get his loot and be in go mode.
So this looks like this is going to be a close race here. Depending on, this might be execution. I give Cheezinator a slight advantage because that 42 black belt is going to take fewer shots to take out your fiend refights.
Classic gamer 76 in chat says he blinked. Was there a lich? No, there really wasn't.
No, it was just a pile of purple robes. You saw nothing.
I'm gonna say I think. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna say I think Cheese has the advantage.
Yeah, that was just not healing up everyone after walking through 5 or 6 floors of lava, and Carrie just picked the lucky person to get hit. So nothing to worry about there. Restock your items, possibly bring back the fighter, and get ready for Topher would be my guess here.
Pretty much. And Marcus heading through the bats. $2,250 damage. There was a carry here. She's gone now.
All right, just a little bit past 101.30. Cheezinator, the first to head into Tower of Fiends Revisited.
And has had no encounters so far. Got his hero run.
Yep, that was the advantage of burning off your encounters before coming in here, so that way you know exactly how far you can go. With a 42 black belt on his side, unless Kraken 2 gets a first turn shot off, we could see sub 110 here.
Yeah, or he runs into one of those bad men with stone poison encounters.
That's true, but he does have a couple of ribbons, so he should be able to get away and then use what soft potions he should have handy to get back on track.
True. We are on Earth floor. Cheese is on Earth floor. And Marcus is at the bottom floor of Earth Cave.
Always a little bit tense when you run into the pack of Go Medusas because they routinely like to have those status effects on their attacks.
He's past the bad men until he hits Sky Floor. He can hit them on Sky Floor, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And once again, we just step over the pile of purple robes that was in our way, and we move on.
And Marcus pummels Lich 1 at the same time that Cheezinator pummels Lich 2. And we get a carry.
You almost have to feel bad for Lich getting pummeled in 2 different times at 2 different places in 2 different eras. That's gotta be terrible for your self-esteem.
And carry 2 was just a speed bump. As Cheese is on water floor.
Yep, Cheese is about to approach the first gatekeeper of the Temple of Fiends Revisited as Marcus comes into Temple of Fiends himself. Hour and 14 minutes.
Hour
4. Don't mind me, I'm seeing ones where there should be zeros.
So yeah, about 2.5 minutes. Cheese is about 2.5 minutes ahead of Marcus. Oh, there's Badman. There's our stone poison Badman.
Now, can you get away here in time? Well, at least Scorch in the second slot isn't going to be as bad. Meanwhile, over on Cheezinator's side, we have a Kraken 2 fight going on. I saw about 380, and then I saw 20 hits for 1,528.
Yeah. That's a splatted octopus.
Yep, and whoever ordered sushi, it is now ready.
$10 for 422. So this Tia's got some absorb.
Yeah, that Mazda plus 5 only did look like 70 damage, if that's what the fighter was still equipped with.
Yes, that is what the fighter's equipped with.
Which is kind of pointless because 1350.
Your tenderized dragon is ready.
And here we go. We've pulled Chaos. Let's see what we have coming out of the gate.
Ooh. 10 for 946.
2 more rounds tops. Make that 1 round.
Done. And Cheezinator is done. That is an official race time. That is an official race time GG time of 106.19.
That was definitely a nice run going through Temple of Fiends Revisited. That once again, that 42 black belt showing that it has been the superior choice for most of the spring tournament so far.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Classic Gamer on that one. Someone gets a fast off on a level 42 plus black belt against Chaos, just type your GG and be ready.
Yep, let me go ahead and pull Cheezinator in here and get some thoughts from him.
Welcome, Cheezinator. GG to you, sir.
GG, thank you very much.
Yowza.
Yeah, some things lined up that seed. The grind was early and free, and I think I finally had all the things down, kind of in rhythm from doing pickup races and so forth to work out the nuts and bolts of these flags, and just executed as best I could.
And you executed those fiendry fights too.
Yeah, they some things definitely can still go wrong when you got a 42, 43 black belt. There could have always been first turn zap or something. Like if you lose light warriors before Kraken, especially, you can sometimes go down to man mode and then you're vulnerable to slow 2 and yada yada. But I was getting good turn order pretty much on my fast casts. The punches were, none of the fiends took longer than 2 rounds. So whatever dangerous in this Topher, I was never going to see it.
And just to mention, guardianmarcus just cleared Kraken 2 in 1 round because he got the right fast. He got the good turn order. And Tia 2 had Cure 4 at the top of the spell list.
Okay, top of the spell list is whatever, right? If that comes out, maybe Tia punches once and gets 1 turn of a heal off, but it's not like 3-4 turns in and you've been sinking all your spell charges, and then the Cure 4 comes out and it's a backbreaker.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like Marcus will be having to do man mode against Chaos. He's down to just a black belt.
Fortunately, Chaos wasn't that beefy. Wasn't that beefy as far as absorb.
Yeah, I mean, my first punch before I even did fast did 900 damage or something like that.
Yep, I'm seeing 550. I saw a 350, 145. This is going the wrong way.
And Marcus dies to Chaos.
Looks like it was a punch script Chaos.
Yeah, that was a full punch script Chaos.
Yep, so he's also going in. I don't think he got the 42.
He did not.
Yeah, so there's another thing that might have played a slight difference here.
And that Stone Poison Badman fight.
Well, at least it only got 1 of the black mages that time, so that's a good start.
Yeah, so while guardianmarcus does his redive here, I'll go through some quick hits about the seed. Early on, I kind of anticipated Floaterless. I think you have to, given where the items have been falling, but I didn't want to take Earth Cave solo with my black belt because I didn't have any caster items. So I did put that off till later. And then I bet pretty hard on it not being ice for starters, but also on it being in Sea Shrine or something, what I needed, because I did that before Waterfall. Turns out neither of them were good. It was a bottle on a tail. And then I just kind of wanted to continue pressing Fiend dungeons, so I did Sky even before going back to Ice. Felt like a cleaner route, and was rewarded with a key item on the second floor, so that kind of, eliminated my fears of what if I full clear Sky for nothing. And then pretty much my only fear from that point was like, what if Ice had Ruby and you could have gotten this loot from Sarda and been in go mode way before clearing Sea, Sky, Waterfall, etc. I have no idea what was in Ice, but it turns out not to matter.
Ice led to bonk. Ice led to power bonk.
All right. One question I did want to ask is your party comp. What led you to decide to Dan the fighter early and stick with your black belt? Was it just the way the seeds have been rolling in the tournament so far, or was that your plan all along?
My plan with this party is to look for a weapon or a grind, whichever comes first. That's the plan I commit to. I didn't consider Sun +3 or Sun +4 to necessarily be a lock for an endgame fighter sword, and I did get that before the Agama grind. But when I stopped by Earth and found, an Agama fight that would never advance the encounter table and that I could never get a dangerous fight on the way in or out, I knew that was safe, and I know I could take that as high as I needed. I ended up getting a Maza in Mermaids later, and I was like, well, maybe guardianmarcus went here, got a Maza, and like did fighter strats, and he could beat me that way. So that was in the back of my mind, but it's still useful, right? I had the black mage actually swinging it for a while and then moved it to the fighter, so didn't worry so much that the bottle was useless because I still got a Maza in that room.
Right. And Marcus, back on a second trip through, on a second redive in Topher, he lost Black Mage to third dive, a second redive. Lost a Black Mage to Blaze from Lich 2.
Yeah, the ribbon being in, I want to say, first floor of Sky, that really eased up chest checking for me. After I got the adamant, I didn't need to open another box, and I knew that like if I just had one fast caster who could remain up all the way to chaos, then I'd be in decent shape. And the Warmech fight, accidentally, the Warmech fight not only finished up all the encounters I needed to do, so I could skip good encounters after that, it put a bunch of experience on my red mage who started to get like high enough HP to survive Topher.
Yeah. So, what was your thought when you clear the first Warmack fight? Your black belt hits 42. You take about 3 steps, and Warmack's brother shows up for revenge.
I knew I didn't need the experience, and I also knew that the previous fight felt dicey because it was taking multiple rounds for a fasted, 39 or 40 black belt to finish it. And yes, I was at 42, but it just felt greedy to even attempt it. If the red mage dies there and then like Tiamat hits a slow or something, I could be there in Sky for 5 more minutes. And that's if I don't wipe to the Warmech. So I didn't want to take that risk. I just ran away.
Yeah. That's
a smart call.
Yeah, that's along the lines of what I would have done. Then again, even if I'm at 40 or 41 and I see a Warmech, if it's giving me the chance to run, I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah, it was not a slam dunk that I should take it. I know that if I win, I don't have to have another random battle the rest of the game. What's funny is that had I just skipped both Warmechs, there were 2 double fighter packs the rest of the way on the Bridge of Destiny, which might still have gotten me all the experience I needed.
Yeah, but getting at least knowing that you got through a Warmech, seeing if there was anything that they had in the pool that you could eliminate for your Fiend refights, which Ice 3 was about the only thing I think we saw. Probably not a bad idea in retrospect.
Yeah, you know what? I actually was kind of tunnel visioning, so I wasn't scouting the Warmech or remembering what it had. I did wake up like 45 minutes before race time today or something, trying to sleep off some soreness. And so I just, whatever my mental capacity I had today was just like, just keep going forward, continue to execute the plan that I'm used to and so forth.
Well, sometimes that's all you really need.
Well, there go. Carry 2 is Carry 2's got some punch to her. And Marcus threw Carry 2.
That red mage is like, no, we are not having this go around. Here's a sword. Let me introduce you to the business end of it.
The pointy end goes in the other guy.
Mazda +5 will get there with basically any character, like maybe except for a solo black mage. That is a strong weapon.
Yeah, Mazda +5 is yikes.
Yeah, I've rarely seen a Mazo roll positive so far this tournament. So to see one hit max is certainly one of those things where you just have to open your eyes for a second and make certain you saw exactly what you thought you saw.
And Marcus threw Kraken 2.
Yeah, the magic was interesting. Because life was promotion locked, I really did think about promotion, but when I got a tail and I had no warp or exit and waterfall, I was just like, I can't do this. I've got to keep going. I don't want to walk it out. If for whatever reason I desperately needed it, I knew where it was.
Yeah, that Tia 2 was high absorb.
Yeah, it's just probably a good thing that we were able to punch through before it got through all 8 of its spells and came back to cure 1 in that first slot a second time.
Yeah, cure 4, yeah. Ooh. There goes Black Mage number 2. But there goes Tia 2. And we've got a fast caster up.
I was going to say, you got a red mage. As long as you still have one cast of fast on that red mage, that's all you need. May need a little bit of turn order to go your way, but other than that, this should be doable.
Ooh, nuclear for the first.
But crucially, he gets the fast off.
Yes, crucially, the fast gets off.
Well, that puts pay to our theory of nothing but punches.
And Marcus done with chaos. Get your GGs in chat.
All right. Let me see if we can get Marcus in here for a quick interview.
GG to you, Marcus.
GG, guys. GG, Cheese.
Guardian.
So your thoughts on the seed, Marcus?
Huh? It wasn't too bad. I mean, I thought I did a pretty good job of running it, and just ran into chaos at the end.
Yeah, it looked like it was a pretty decent seed. You just got unlucky there going through Temple of Fiends on that first go round, getting down to chaos and having to man mode it with no way to get some evade on your black belt and have a chance at it.
Yeah, I was worried about that, but I mean, when you're playing somebody as good as Cheese, you gotta go for it, because if you don't, you get it beat them.
Yeah, it It's definitely a risk you have to take. I fully understand.
Yeah, I was watching the end of your Topher dives and stuff here in the booth. Looks like you went for 32, and I went for 42. And frankly, like both approaches have won this tournament. It really all just depends on how Topher rolls.
Yeah, again, I didn't want to grind to 42. Maybe I let the fact of who my opponent was get to me, but I didn't feel good going to 42. Felt that was too much time.
Well, and the high absorb Tia 2 was not a made that a harder decision. Made that decision turn out worse, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I did have the power bonk, but I mean, you don't want to use it too much on the black belt, especially when Tier 2 is just taking down the rest of your party. So
What did you grind on?
Agamoth in
Same.
Earth Cave. Yeah.
I think that was a pretty natural play. I didn't have the ruby, so it's not like I was really being pulled over there, but I felt like the Inner Sea had a lot of key items already because the Oxia was the vendor item, and then there were a couple of fetch quests like Crown and Key and so forth. So it seemed like I had enough in my stockpile to like commit early.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just looking for a grind tile, and popped up, and then I came back to finish Earth later on.
Yep, same.
I mean, with no caster item at that point, coming back to finish Earth later has got to be the right play.
Yeah, definitely felt like that would be the right play instead of trying to man mode it, especially with just the 32 black belt.
I gambled on not needing to do ice early, but it sounds like you did, and that's where the power gauntlet was.
Well, it was Crystal that went to Power Monk, but yeah.
Yeah, that felt bad.
Well, if it's any consolation, at least it was a somewhat short chain instead of having to go through 6 different items before realizing this is all I get for all my hassle.
Yeah, also it's
Yeah.
an inner sea fetch quest. Like if you get crystal out of ice, you're not that far from Matoya, so it's one of the less trolly items to get there.
Yeah, for sure. And I actually did. I went straight from ice to Matoya's, especially because that river system was giving me a little bit of a hassle.
Yeah, and it made perfect sense to do that because you could stop at Provoker and pick up your shop item on the way, which I saw both of you did in pretty much that exact order.
Yeah, one interesting thing about how the seed ended up, like timing wise, of course, I got a pretty solid time for the flag set, but that was with floater coming after 2 orbs. And I think with the really big thing that sped it up was the key came right away off King Sarah. And when that happens, like you get all this cash, you get all this early gear that makes the early game safe and means you can just do all your shopping trips through the first couple towns in one go. So it was really convenient having just like 20,000 gold, 30,000 gold, whatever to work with.
Yeah, that is a good point. Getting the key right away, and it means you can save time by not having to come back to Corneria Castle.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have any other questions for our runners. We've pretty much covered everything that I was looking to go over in all this. Mr. Stewart, you got anything for us?
I just does that put what does that put records to?
I'll go to 2 and 1.
I'm done. I'm on 3.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Marcus. I've done 2 of your races and do a pretty good job. Whoop my backside.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pods being random like they were, some of them just ended up so competitive. Like you can play your heart out race well, not make any, you know, wrong decisions, but still, like, that's the luck of the draw.
Just wasn't
go
my
ahead.
luck this time.
Well, congratulations, Cheese. Good luck in the knockout stage.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna have to shift into bracket flag practice, but not that soon. We've got a week and a half or something until it's time to transition. I'll enjoy watching and casting a number of the other races in the pods and stuff. And yeah, I don't have any more thoughts on this seed either. So I just want to say thank you to the broadcasters and trackers and Restreamer. Actually, it took the whole maximum sized crew here to put this on RPG Limit Break for us. Thanks for all the support, everyone, all the GGs. It was a good race, Guardian Marcus. And I guess, see you all around the Discord. Oh yeah, chat, join the Discord. And that's all I've got today. Thanks.
Yes. We've got, let's see. Sorry, I'm looking to see the schedule for the rest of today.
I've got it brought up if you want me to take care of it.
Go ahead.
All right. Well, right now, actually, over on twitch.tv/Rafe Hates Caleb, we have a Bicky broadcast going of the Ooze pod race between Brat and Angel FM. I'll go ahead and type that down in there. I won't make it an actual link because I don't feel like getting timed out by the bot. Then we also have 3 races coming up later tonight. At 8 o'clock on Randomania 2, it's Sledge against Jay Scheidel in the Cerebus pod. 9 p.m. is Caleb against Life Reboot in the Hooray pod. That's a Randomizer After Dark match on twitch.tv/Lord Fizzlebeef. Now, I had the fun task of tracking that one last week on the After Dark broadcast, and if you haven't seen an After Dark run before, you're in for a treat. That's all I'm going to give you in terms of spoilers, so make certain to tune in for that. And then at 9:30 tonight, in the Underhill pod, it's Cyrenus against Joshua, and that's on RPG Limit Break. And I'm being told I won't get timed out by the bot, so I'll go ahead and put that link in here, and I'll let Mr. Stewart go ahead. Oh, actually, Rob even beats me to it, so there you go. There's your link, folks. As soon as we get done talking here, head on over there for some more good Final Fantasy Randomizer action.
Well, I'd just like to thank our runners, Guardian Marcus and Cheezinator. I'd like to thank the people that organized the tournament for the Chaos Comedy Tour. Big thanks to Jay Scheidel and Rob Draven, our restreamer and tracker respectively. And also a big thank you to my partner here, Shadowed Flames. You should give all of these people a follow.
And on that note, we're going to go ahead and turn y'all loose to go head over to the link that Rob provided to see what's going on in that race. So we'll see you over there and later on tonight for more action. And stay tuned. We still have a week and a half to go.
Have a great day, everybody.